Come on, Rockfin.
I'm your host, Sabrina Salvati. I'm your host, Sabrina Salvati.
All right. Happy Monday. What's going on, everyone? Welcome to Sab's podcast. I'm your host, Sabrina Salvati. If you are new, I want to let you know that Sab's podcast is a part of Revolutionary Blackout Network. You can catch me there on Thursdays for the Roundtable and Friday for the Sabby Show. And you can catch me here Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Friday. What's going on? Shout out to everyone watching on YouTube, Twitter, and Rockfin. I want to say hello to people in the chat really quick. Shout out to JM. I love your little rose there. Shout out to Hannah G, says Sabby with a smiley face. Greetings, sing at night, says good vibes. Good vibes to you too. Oh, my hair is like doing this thing over here. Shout out to Monarch Mighty Czar. What the hell happened to George Takei? He must be a vote blue no matter who chump. Oh, we're going to get into that. Shout out to Pedro, says peace and love. Greetings, Nadia says, oh, she's talking to Monarch here. I never had any idea of his politics to begin with, and most people's politics are garbage, so it's not surprising. Shout out to Dan O'Neill, says beam me up. Greetings, Lawrence Johnson, says doobie doobie doo. Always a pleasure to see you. Shout out to Yasmin, says hi, everyone. Greetings, Eric T. Red, who's a Sabby member, says, hey, happy Monday, all lefty friends. Shout out to Kevin Tui, says, hi, comrades. What's going on? I hate work 420. I'm sorry, I love that name. Says Sabby with a heart. Welcome to you as well. Greetings, Delthea Simmons, who's a Sabby member, says, hey, people, with a lot of smiley face emojis. Shout out to Swanky Tias, who's also a Sabby member, says, hey, Sabby and everyone else. What's going on? Franny French says, peace, Sabby. Extra grateful for shows like this these days. What's going on? Comrade Cam says, hey, everyone. Shout out to Janice, says, hi, everybody. What's going on? Savannah Owen says, hello. And greetings, Phenomenal Mysticism says, hello, Sabby. I like that. I like that name. And shout out to Jonathan Cooper, who says, hey, Sabby, peace. Greetings, Sula Moon says, hi, y'all. What's going on? CBC voter sends a smiley face with glasses, the little nerdy smiley face. Shout out John T says 100%. All right, let's go ahead and get into it. What are we going to be talking about tonight, ladies and gentlemen? Let me go ahead and share my thumbnail here. All right. Shout out to everyone who is a Sabby patron. Thank you so much. If you want to be a Sabby patron, you can too. I have 4 categories: members, Sabbies, Sabsters, and the ultimate. And I want to give a quick shout out to new Sabby patrons, Gala McHavala. I hope I pronounced your name correctly. Dr. Dubious, Dara Jones, and Lee Eisenstein. Thank you all so much. Their names are also scrolling across the bottom of the screen as well. Okay, let's go ahead and get into it. So tonight we are talking about, should be an interesting conversation. Tonight we're talking about George Takei and Joe Biden harsh remarks. Ooh, some of the things I saw over the weekend. Not considering working class people and being inconsiderate of working class people came from those two. We're also going to talk about Andrew Cuomo, cancel culture. What is he whining about now, ladies and gentlemen? And we're going to talk about Russia loses business. So we're going to get into those stories tonight. All right. I also have some good news for you guys at the end of this stream. I want to start ending with some good news if I have some. But let's go ahead and get started with the George Takei story, man. This was a cringe moment. I saw this on Twitter. TMZ broke this story. So let's go ahead and share that. All right. So here we go. This is a doozy. So like I said, TMZ shared this story. So here we go. George Takei, Americans suck it up on higher prices. Do it for Ukraine. He has some nerve here. He has some nerve. So let's get into this article. George Takei thinks Americans need to be willing to tighten their belt and shoulder bloated checkout tallies in solidarity with Ukraine. But he's kind of catching heat for the suggestion. I actually need to move this to another screen because I can't see it there. Okay. Only thing about this is I can't make this larger. That's okay. So George Takei, here we go. The Star Trek actor took to Twitter Friday with his sentiment writing, Americans, we can endure higher prices for food and gas if it means putting the screws to Putin. Consider it a patriotic donation in the fight for freedom over tyranny. Yes, he actually said that. Here's the tweet here that you can see from him, from his iPhone, by the way. Sounds innocent enough. Fact is, there is bound to be more inflation as a result of this conflict and the sanctions Biden has imposed, whether we like it or not. If anything, it sounds like GT is telling folks to have a better attitude about it rather than actually proposing they act on it. Because frankly, there isn't much to do at the moment. Now, as you can imagine, his idea is being embraced by some, but rejected by others. As you guys can imagine, that idea is definitely being rejected by me. So Mark says George Takei, net worth 14 million, telling Americans who are struggling financially that we should be okay with paying more for gas and supplies because of a conflict that doesn't involve us is peak elitism. Let's talk about that, ladies and gentlemen. Let me come out here for a second. Let's talk about that. See, this is why I say that celebrities should not lead a movement. This is exactly why. Every now and then they'll chime in when there's an important issue, feeling like they're the voice of reason, wanting to give their opinion about it. And sometimes they'll come across as an ally. John Cusack used to do that. I know for a while, a lot of us followed him on Twitter and he seemed like he came across as like some progressive ally. But the moment that money is involved, all of a sudden they show you who they really are, who we thought them to be, basically. This is why you cannot have celebrities lead a movement. Because at the end of the day, when it comes down to the money, they are going to protect their money. This statement from George Takei is not only cringe, it's elitist and it's out of touch. When he says that Americans can afford to do this, should be okay with struggling financially, who is he talking about? Which Americans is he referring to? Because the only people that I know that can deal with this and are okay with dealing with it are people who are wealthy. People like George Takei. Working class people cannot handle this. Hell, to be honest with you, some middle class people cannot handle this. So I bought gas this morning because I actually had to go to an appointment this morning. Realized I didn't have enough gas to get there. I'm one of those people. So I bought gas this morning, $4.09 per gallon for unleaded gas here in Massachusetts right now. That's actually Eastern Massachusetts, so that's where I am. I don't know how much it is in the rest of the state, but I've never paid that much for gas here. And all I could think to myself was, thank God I only have to drive in to do this once this week. But what about all of the people who have to drive to work every day? And I was one of those people until I quit my job. Now I work remotely. How are they going to be able to afford to pay for that? And if you think it's high now, this is nothing. It will increase. $4.09. It'll get higher. So the fact that he just seems to be okay with even tweeting this, the fact that he thinks this, he believes this just goes to show you the people that he's around and the class that he is a part of. He is a part of a class that can afford to do this. They can afford to pay more in gas. Probably not really affected. He's a millionaire. Let's remember that. But working class people will struggle. Working class people will suffer. Like, this is ridiculous. And I want to remind you, a lot of us did not get a raise last year. A lot of us did not get promoted last year or the year before because companies were trying to cut costs. So even though people were quitting their jobs, the corporations, some of these corporations were not hiring people to take those positions. Instead, they took the work that was from those positions and dumped that workload on the people who were still left to cut costs. But those people didn't get raises and those people didn't get promotions. Health insurance premiums increased. And again, I'm talking about my state, so keep that in mind. So if the health insurance premiums increased, gas has increased. And if you've been to the grocery store recently, you probably noticed that the price of food has increased. And you didn't get a pay raise. I'd say you're struggling. This is the problem. So when Joe Biden says during his State of the Union address that we need to cut costs, you need to pay the American people a living wage. If all of us, if we were paid for our labor the way that we should be paid for our labor, we might be able to handle this better. But most of us are not. The first thing I thought about this morning when I got gas, and I did not fill up. I'm a non-filler upper. The first thing I thought about was all of the people that live in this state that are making minimum wage. And they have to drive to work because there isn't a subway station in their neighborhood. There isn't a bus line that goes through their neighborhood. So they have no choice but to drive to work. People want to talk about public transportation. Not everyone has public transportation. I lived down south. There was no public transportation. So how on earth are people who are working minimum wage jobs going to be able to afford these gas prices? How are they going to be able to afford groceries at the grocery store right now? This is the time for working class people to come together and rise up. This is the time for working class people, especially if you are making minimum wage, to organize together and hit the streets. Because I don't see anything changing if this does not happen. I really don't. So you said Rockfin stopped? It looks like it's fine. Let me see. Unless they're having technical issues. 1 second, you guys. Um, it did stop. Well, I can't restream to it. I don't know what's going on there. What is this? I'm seeing comments. Hold on one second, guys. I'm seeing comments in Rockfin. Was it on Rockfin off? I just got informed, Eric on YouTube. Well, what when we do? I don't know. I think that's a technical thing. Rockfin, I told you guys, Rockfin can be, it has mood swings sometimes. And I can't restream it because in StreamYard, it's still, Rockfin is still checked. So there's nothing else I can do. Sorry, guys. This is why I stream to multiple platforms. Anywho, this just goes to show you his elitism. No, George, you can afford to deal with that. Your pocket isn't going to be hit the way that someone who's working at Dunkin' Donuts, the way their wallet is going to be hit. They still have to go to work, still making minimum wage. And by the way, in my state, we did approve $15 minimum wage. So it increases every year. We're almost at the 15 point, not there yet. But what about people that live in states where they're still making $7.25 an hour? $7.25 an hour or $7.50. I forget which one it is now. And then you still have to pay $4 for gas. That's ridiculous. I'll go back into the article here. So it goes on to say the pushback, namely that George is a rich celebrity and he comes off a bit tone deaf here, is telling ordinary people to chip in for a good cause, at least in his critics' eyes. Essentially, it's sounding like an elitist POV to them and talking down to the little people. I'm going to go to my article. Yeah, Eric, that closed. So I'm just going to pull it up from my article. Okay, you got it. Big picture, this convo is turning into rich versus poor, which is a raging debate in this country, as it seems there is a growing hatred of the 1%, whom many feel could be and should be contributing more to help society. George is on the receiving end of that. You can go ahead and scroll down, Eric. Brian said, this guy is a multi-millionaire. Can you scroll up? I'm sorry, the tweet. Yeah. This guy is a multi-millionaire. If you're living on a shoestring budget, you can't afford to put screws to Putin. George Takei doesn't care because this won't hurt him, but he wants you to do your patriotic duty. And that's another thing that kind of ticked me off about this. It's a patriotic duty. No, I don't consider that to be a patriotic duty. What I consider to be a patriotic duty is the United States government guaranteeing housing to everybody in this country, guaranteeing everyone a minimum wage, a living wage, guaranteeing that everyone can have health care. That's what I consider to be a patriotic duty. I do not consider us struggling financially for people in Ukraine to be a patriotic duty. No, I don't. I'm going to go to some of these comments in the chat. Thank you so much for the super chat, Ashura. Did you hear what's happening in Ukraine about Africans? Yes, I talked about that on Friday. Thank you so much for the super chat. She's Black says George was slaughtered on Twitter for that comment. Yes, he was ratioed, you guys. John T says, ask the oil companies to suck it up and give all the extra profits to the people by paying the gains to taxes. Delthea Simmons said, Ukraine is not the reason why gas prices are going up. Ukraine is the cover for price gouging. Yes, because I do want to remind all of you, I don't know about you guys, but at least here in Massachusetts, grocery stores prices were already increasing last year before all of this started. But it's a convenient truth for them. Ashura says, Sabby Sabs, I meant Black and Africans being forced to enlist and experience racism. I have not seen that part yet. I saw the part about the train. Lawrence said, this is the Sulu from the Mirror Universe. Jay Alvarado, thank you so much. It says only $4.09. It's over $5 in Los Angeles. I'm sure it'll be $5 here pretty soon. But $4.09, that's a lot for us. Like, we don't pay that. 1 second, you guys. We're not used to paying that here in Massachusetts. We're just not. Shout out to Lucky Burrito, says Sabby. And thank you so much for the super sticker. Troy and KC Red Precarian. Thank you so much for that. So this is a problem. And again, I'm sorry, but I'll say it again if you're just tuning in. This is why we should not let celebrities lead these movements. They'll say a couple of things that make them sound like they're progressive or they're lefties. And then they always come back and say something pretty cringe that reminds us, no, they are exactly who we thought they were. John Cusack is a good example. A good example. He blocked a lot of people, by the way. Alrighty. Okay, Eric, I'll go back into that article. So I want to go ahead and finish this up. Of course, the flip side of this is who the hell knows what George may already be doing and or donating to help the cause in Ukraine. He could be pouring tons of cash and other resources towards the effort without without anyone's knowledge. And if he is, would he still be considered an opulent snob in the ivory tower? If we're being honest, probably not. No, he would be considered. I'm sorry. Wait a minute. Just because I don't know if he's giving money to Ukraine or not, but let's say he is giving money to Ukraine. That still doesn't undo his comment that he posted on Twitter saying that we should just suck it up. So we should struggle financially to help out people in Ukraine when the United States government is just as much a part of all this as Russia and Ukraine, by the way. It is not just Russia's fault. There is no good guy. Russia's not good. Ukraine's not good. The United States isn't good. They're all complicit. Why should the American people have to suffer for what the United States government did? Did we tell them to make those decisions? No. This is one thing that I really vent about when it comes to voting. Because when it comes to foreign policy, voting doesn't really seem to make a difference. Some may say, well, yes, the squad, we put them in, they're progressive. How did they vote on foreign policy? Just something to think about. Just something to think about. All right, I'll go back in. More importantly, higher prices undoubtedly affected him too. Yes, it hurts some more than others for sure, but when the economy is squeezed, it's not really ideal for anyone. All right, I'll come out of this article. Okay, yes, higher prices will affect everyone. But when you are a millionaire, let's be real, George Takei is still making money. Just because he's not on Star Trek anymore, he still makes money from that. He makes money every time he does guest appearances, when he goes to these conventions. Let's be real. I don't think it's fair to compare the two, because if you're a millionaire and your gas prices increase and your grocery prices increase, okay. But if you are poor and you are working class and gas prices and grocery prices increase, who is hit harder? Who has to suffer more? I can't believe it. I can't believe it. Yes. Yes. Gamer said celebs are part of Hollywood. A cringe statement. that he should not have made, I will say. Gamer and Ganja for Life says happy Monday to you as well, Sabby. What's up? Yeah. Hit that like button, guys. That really does help me with the algorithm. All right, Eric, I want to go ahead and go into the second story. This is Joe Biden. He made some cringe comments too. Here we go. Now, remember what I was just telling you about gas prices. So just keep that in the back of your head as we go through this story. So Joe Biden, over the weekend, he decided to urge Americans to return to work, to physically return back into the office. Let's go ahead and try to play the video, Eric. I don't know if the video plays on here.
In my State of the Union address, I said there was something happening in America, starting with historic economic recovery that we're seeing right now. And today, we've learned that in February, our economy created 678,000 new jobs. 678,000 new jobs. And over the course of my presidency, our economy has now created 7.4 million jobs. More jobs created in a 13-month period than any time ever before in our history. And we've learned that in February, the unemployment rate fell to 3.8%, down from 6.4% the day I took office, beginning in 2021, which is the fastest decline in unemployment rate in recorded history.
We'll pause here,
because
Eric.
of all of you.
Yeah. So let's talk about that unemployment rate. Notice again, he did the same thing that Pramila Jayapal did. He mentions that the unemployment rate decreased, but he doesn't tell you why it decreased. He doesn't tell you the real reason why. He doesn't mention that they kicked people off of unemployment in September on Labor Day. He doesn't mention that piece. So let's not pat yourself on the back, Joe, for accomplishing this great feat of decreasing unemployment when the reason why the numbers are as low as they are is because you kicked Americans off of unemployment. Let's be real. Let's stop trying to pretend like it's because all of these Americans found these jobs all of a sudden. I still know several people here in Eastern Massachusetts that are still unemployed and have not found work. So just cut the crap, Joe. Just cut the crap. I'll go back in.
By the way, before the American Rescue Plan passed, the Congressional Budget Office didn't project our unemployment rate to hit 3.8% at any time over the entire decade. Americans are back to work. Yes, family budgets are still tight, but a lot of Americans are getting paychecks this year more than they got last year, and restoring the dignity of work so they can show up at work with some pride. You know, job gains in February were broad-based across sectors, from construction to retail to manufacturing to leisure and hospitality.
Pause.
The decline in unemployment rate was...
I can't believe he mentioned retail. What are retail workers making, you guys? What are retail workers making? Do you know that's one of the most common jobs in the United States is retail and restaurant work? A lot of times, these retail jobs are paying these employees either minimum wage. I know because I did retail. So you have some people making $7.25 an hour. Or if they're lucky enough to move up in management at the retail store, they could be making, if you're down south, you could be making $10 to $15 an hour. So he's bragging about these retail jobs. And I told you guys before, when he said he created all these new jobs, I was like, what are the jobs? And we never got that response. So now he's saying construction. He's saying retail. Retail doesn't pay much. And the average person who is working a retail job is not a teenager with a part-time job. It's an adult. A lot of times it's an adult that has a family, and this is what they are paying them. And I know this because I worked in retail. And most of the people that I worked with, that's who they were. So this is just driving me crazy because, again, that was my big question. What are the jobs? Even when it comes to the construction jobs, are those full-time construction jobs or are they contract jobs? Because a lot of times, people that work in construction, a lot of times these are contract roles. So that means that when the project is complete, the job is done. You're not getting paid. Retail. Really? I'll go back in.
Broad-based as well. The fact that unemployment rate among workers without high school degrees fell to 4.3%, the lowest on record since we've been keeping records. 4.3%. It's amazing. Workers' weekly earnings rose in February. The people in working class sectors like transportation, warehousing saw some of the strongest wage gains. This is what it looks like to grow an economy from the bottom
BS,
up and the middle
pause.
out. Because of the progress we
BS. Let's talk about transportation. You know what they did last year because of the pandemic? They cut those jobs. I live in a state that has public transportation. We have a subway, we have buses, we even have a ferry. I don't think many people take that, just being honest. Last year, and this was on the local news, and I remember this, they cut jobs from the MBTA. We call it the T. That's the transit system here. Not only did they cut jobs, but they cut routes. So if you were on the red line, I know some of you don't live here, you're probably like, what are you talking about? If you take the red line to work, and Harvard is part of that red line, what they did is that they took stops away from the red line schedule to cut back, to cut costs. So if you lived in an area that had that stop, all of a sudden the stop is gone. And they didn't put them back. They cut stops on the red line, on the orange line, on the blue line. They cut bus routes, by the way. And this really affects working class people, poor people, Black people that live in the Boston area, because most of the neighborhoods in Boston and around Boston that are lower income are not on the subway route. That's on purpose, by the way. I can get into that in another story. They are on a bus route. So a lot of people that live in Dorchester, that live in Mattapan, that live in Everett, there is no subway stop in Everett. There's no subway stop in Chelsea. Those people heavily rely on the buses. So they cut bus routes. They took stops away. These people already had a long commute to begin with. Some people have to take 2 and 3 buses just to get to work and hoping they get there on time. And they removed stops and they cut jobs. So he's lying to you. Let's go ahead and finish it, Eric.
we've made in fighting COVID, Americans can not only get back to work, but they can go to the office and safely fill our great downtown cities again and gaining more commerce. With 75% of adult Americans fully vaccinated and hospitalizations down by 77%, most Americans can remove their mask, return to work, and move forward safely.
So here's the problem. Joe Biden is encouraging companies to bring employees back into the office. There's two problems with this. One problem is what I just mentioned to you in the previous story. The gas prices. The gas prices are higher now. So some people were able to save money by working from home because they didn't have to pay for their commute. Now that the gas prices are higher, now you want people to come back into the office. In fact, he's telling companies to bring them back in. That is on purpose. Who's going to benefit from that? Got to have people buy this gas. That's terrible. That's absolutely terrible. Pushing people back to work, especially people who are working class, working these low wage jobs, when the gas prices are sky high, and they will get higher. I don't know what to say. This is a big problem. The second problem with that, pushing people back to work. After some of us have been working from home for 2 years now because of the pandemic. Joe Biden says you must get back into the office. Why? Why? If you can do your job at home and you've been working from home this past year, 2 years, why do you need to go back into the office? No, Joe Biden needs you to go buy that gas. That's what that's about. I'm going to go to some of the comments in the chat. Thanks for the super chat, Justin. Can we eat the rich yet? Can we, Justin? Can we? Quaker Anarchist says, I come in and you all are listening to some Joe Schmo. Oh my gosh. This is cringe. I want you guys to see the big picture. It's not about bringing everybody back into the office. It's about Joe Biden wants you to pay for that gas. That's what that's about. Lots of comments. Franny French says George Takei thinks we can just beam up to whenever. Right? I know, right? Eric said the gas is too damn high. Do you guys remember that guy? I can't remember his name. He used to say, he ran for office. He used to say, the rent is too damn high. Look that guy up. Look that guy up. John T, who's a Sabby member, says nothing goes where there is no money. Capitalism selling a lie. He wants you to buy that gas. Someone just said something about the MBTA and I lost it. Shoot balls. Shoots. Oh, wow. I should have started earlier. Jonathan Cooper says, I also think that the commercial real estate industry is in Joe's ear. That's what's happening in NYC. I could see that too, Jonathan. I could definitely see that. Monarch said, hi. Whoops. Oh, you found it. Yipper99 says, Sabby, MWATA, DC area, cut service hours on trains and buses long before. Oh, I didn't know that. That's good to know, Yipper99. They didn't hear until it's ridiculous. It's just terrible. Monarch says high gas prices may contribute to more homeless if people have no money to pay the bills. Exactly. Guys, look, I remember this happening one other time in my lifetime, and that was 2008. And I was living in South Carolina. And the gas, at one point, I think it reached to, I have to double check this. At one point, I think it reached to almost $5 per gallon. And I remember I was waiting tables at that point. I remember going into work, going into the Olive Garden. Yes, I used to work at the Olive Garden. And hoping that I could not only just make enough money so I could pay my rent that night, but also hoping that I would get enough tips so that I could put gas in my car so that I can get back home. And that's what you're going to see happening again if nothing changes. For people who have those jobs and they're not making much, and then you're spending all this money on gas now, that's where a lot of your money is going to go. You're basically paying just to get to work. That's it. I'm going to go into the next story. This is the speech from Chuck Schumer, right? Yes. So Chuck Schumer had a speech about the prices as well. He said Americans are being asked to pay more at the grocery store, at the pump, and for basic goods, even as they watch incredulously as some of the nation's biggest corporations post their most massive profits. You can go ahead and play that video, Eric.
This is the biggest economic challenge that our country must focus on right now. Later today, at our DPCC lunch at the request of Chair Stabenow, FTC Commissioner Lena Khan will join us to shine a light on the troubling pattern of corporate price hikes in the areas of oil and gas, prescription drugs, and other goods. The dimension of inflation cannot be ignored. Americans are being asked to pay more at the grocery store, at the pump, and for basic goods, even as they watch incredulously as some of the nation's biggest corporations post their most massive profits. This is the biggest.
So, what's funny about all of this is the fact that the same corporations that he's complaining about donate to his campaign. These same corporations that they're complaining about donate to the Democratic Party. And that right there lets you know that they're not going to do anything about it. Chuck Schumer is only coming out against this, in my opinion, because he's up for re-election. Let's be real. Roger Meadows told us himself. He just had a meeting with Chuck Schumer. Chuck trying to get reelected. So he's going to tell you what you want to hear right now. But it's true. The prices are ridiculous. But come on now. This is what happens in a capitalist society. For too long, we have let them get away with this. Too long. So this is what happens when you let capitalism run amok. And so when people say we need to put guardrails on capitalism, how? With what means? Who's in control? We're not in control. Do we control the money? No. You're going to trust that billionaires and millionaires are going to put guardrails on capitalism? Really? You don't think they're going to find some loophole, an offshore account somewhere else where they can stash their money? They don't even want to pay their fair share of taxes. You think they're going to reduce their prices? Janice said they are doing that for real estate purposes. Building owners and management companies lose money if people work remotely. But do we need the build? Like, this is the thing that always bothered me that I never understood. When you have companies like Google and Facebook, and you have all of these people working there that are software engineers, why do you need them to be there anyway? If you can do the job from home, why did you have all these people coming in, taking up extra space, costing you more money when those people could have worked remotely? It never made any sense to me. If you're on your computer all day, like for my job now, I'm on my computer all day. That's it. I don't need to talk to anybody. I don't need to shake anyone's hand. I don't need to meet anybody at the coffee spot to grab my tea. None of that. So to me, it never made any sense. Quaker Anarchist says the rent is too damn high. Jimmy McMillan, that's his name. Thanks so much for the super chat. Justin, did you hear we're trying to import Iranian gas? I've heard. She's Black says, what about student debt cancellation? Hello. They are trying to do anything in everything other than fixing the capitalist problem. They don't want to cancel student loan debt. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. They don't want to cancel student loan debt. They want to make you go back into the office with these high gas prices. It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't. I'll go into the next story, Eric. This one is about Andrew Cuomo. Believe it or not, he is back in the news. This man will not seem to go away. I think he likes attention. So listen to this. Cuomo rips cancel culture, hints at political comeback. Now, if you looked at the thumbnail for this stream, you'll see I had different signs and arrows pointing in different directions about Cuomo and his situation. It seems to me he wants to blame everyone but himself. Listen to this. Just 6 months ago, after he resigned from office in disgrace over sexual harassment allegations, former New York Governor Andrew Cuomo appeared to be hinting at a political comeback in remarks at a Brooklyn church on Sunday. This is what they do, ladies and gentlemen. When you have politicians that have been corrupt, that have been criminals, and they're caught, all of a sudden they want to go to church. Let's go talk to the church congregation to show people that I'm a good, clean Christian. It's just interesting to me. All right, the Democrat made a campaign-like stop at a Brooklyn church on Sunday, delivering a speech in which he condemned cancel culture. The public appearance, his first since leaving office, came a week after Cuomo's campaign launched a digital and television advertising campaign pushing a similar message. He was driven from office unfairly. Boy, this guy, I can't. Cuomo quoted the Bible. Now he wants to quote the Bible. Do you see? This is what they do. Cuomo quoted the Bible several times as he described his travels, then went his travails. I'm sorry, I can't see it. It's small. His travails, then went on the offensive to attack the political sharks. In Albany, he said, smelled blood and exploited the situation for political gain. He goes on to say this: the actions against me were prosecutorial misconduct. They use cancel culture to effectively overturn an election. Let's talk about this for a minute, ladies and gentlemen. Let's all remember what Andrew Cuomo was accused of. Andrew Cuomo was accused of sexual harassment, fondling by multiple women, not just one, multiple women. Andrew Cuomo also was accused of lying about the nursing home deaths. That was already proven to be true. In reference to sexual harassment, Andrew Cuomo delivered a speech apologizing. Then he tried to blame it on the fact that he was Italian and all this stuff. He tried to blame it on other things, but he still apologized and said that he behaved inappropriately. But Andrew Cuomo is now still trying to say that he didn't do anything wrong, that it was false, that it wasn't true. And I've said this before. If people were lying, why did you apologize? If someone accuses you of doing something that you know you did not do, let's say you stole something. They say you stole something, but you didn't. Are you going to apologize? No. You'll continue to say that you were innocent. He only came out and apologized after they said they had evidence. The only reason why he got away, why he gets to walk, is because he's someone in power, a position of power, and because of money. And let's not forget, his brother, Chris Cuomo, worked at CNN, so he also had the backing of the media. Do you know what that means? Do you know what it means to have political backing, to have monetary backing, financial backing, and to have the backing of the media? Do you know how powerful that makes someone? So they were going to let him walk. It's the same reason why Joe Biden hasn't been punished for the things that he's done to women. Now Andrew Cuomo is trying to blame everyone but himself. This is what he does. I'll go back into the article. Democratic State Attorney General Letitia James, who released the report last summer that concluded Cuomo sexually harassed 11 women. I want to remind you guys, 11 women hit back at the former governor Sunday via a statement from her re-election campaign. Serial sexual harasser Serial sexual harasser Andrew Cuomo won't even spare a house of worship from his lies, even though multiple independent investigations found his victims to be credible. Cuomo continues to blame everyone but himself. And this is what I was telling you guys before. They had evidence. But he wants to blame everybody else, still saying he didn't do anything. And they had evidence against him. You see how this goes? How dare you go into a church and lie? Going back in, Cuomo resigned in August, days after an independent. Where did it go? Okay. Cuomo resigned in August, days after an independent probe found he sexually harassed nearly a dozen women and that he and aides worked to retaliate against an accuser. On Sunday, Cuomo acknowledged his behavior wasn't appropriate, but quickly added that nothing he did violated the law. Can you believe this, ladies and gentlemen? Again, acknowledged that his behavior was inappropriate. Now he's using the excuse of, well, yeah, my behavior was inappropriate, but I didn't break any laws. Yes, Leroy, exactly. That is why women don't come forward. That is exactly why. He goes on to say, I didn't appreciate how fast the perspectives changed. He said, I learned a powerful lesson and paid a very high price for learning that lesson. What high price? Then he goes on to say, God isn't finished with me yet. Really? No, he did not use the old school church confession line. God isn't finished with me yet. How dare he? Really? Cuomo hasn't said he's running for office, but is still sitting on a multi-million-dollar campaign war chest he could use to finance another run. Several district attorneys in New York said they found Cuomo's accusers credible. Again, several district attorneys, not just Letitia James. Several of them said they found them to be credible, but said the available evidence wasn't strong enough to press criminal charges against him. What's strong enough? This is why these cases are so tricky. It's really hard to prove these accusations because a lot of times when it comes to sexual harassment or sexual assault, there is no evidence. We have rape kits at police stations that aren't even open, you guys. We talked about that at the Violence Against Women panel. Over 200,000 of them in the United States that are not open. And those are just the ones that are reported, by the way. Something to keep in mind. Cuomo used his platform Sunday mostly to condemn a social media fueled climate he said is growing and dangerous. No, you are growing and dangerous. He goes on to say any accusation can trigger condemnation without facts or due process. We are a nation of laws, not a nation of tweets. Woe unto us if we allow that it become our new justice system. We are a nation of laws. Okay. Yeah, but how many people break those laws and get away with breaking them because they have the money to do so, because they have the connections to do so? Greg Bruce says victims shouldn't need to go to the police to get rape kits. Exactly. Returning several times to a biblical metaphor of crossing a bridge to describe his journey, Cuomo hinted he won't stay out of the spotlight. You think? Every time I turn around, he keeps popping back up. I've noticed you won't stay out of the spotlight. This man won't go away. The Bible teaches. Oh God, everyone's so Christian when they're caught. The Bible teaches perseverance. It teaches us to get off the mat. They broke my heart, but they didn't break my spirit. I want to take the energy that could have made me bitter and make us better. Oh my God. Oh my God. This is awful. This is awful. So he wants to blame cancel culture for the reason why he was removed from his position. That is not the reason why he was removed. Excuse me, the reason why he had to resign. That had nothing to do with it. It had to do with the accusations. And again, I noticed in this article as well, they're not mentioning the nursing home deaths that he lied about. By the way, that he wrote a book and he made money off of, millions of dollars off of that book. Let's all remember that. You have people who had family members in that nursing home that died. He made money off of it. How corrupt can you be? Bill Bradley said some people find religion when they are down or on their deathbed. Yeah. He's all religious now. All of a sudden, Bible quotes and all. I'm going to go to some of the comments and then I'll go to the next story. Leroy said, yep, I'll never forget those gross, glowing interviews while grandparents were dying. Shameful. Absolutely, 100%. Bill said the fact that he got pushed out over sexual harassment and not killing other humans is a sad statement on our society and how it feels about old people. Yeah. I worked at a skilled nursing facility for 2.5 years. And it's really sad how people forget about the elderly. Really sad. John T said wealthy have a different legal system. Right? Delthea Simmons, thanks so much for the super chat. Cuomo can't quote Reverend James Cleveland. I know. And Bill says, woe unto us. Cuomo is such a panderer. In a church he goes with woe unto us. It just drives me crazy. All of a sudden they found God. I'm going to go into my third story. And don't forget, I told you guys I have good news for you after this story. I do like to share some good news. So this is about what's happening with Russia. This is concerning for anybody that is still over there. Like I said, I have students that were from Russia who went back to, actually all of them went back to Russia to work after they graduated. They didn't stay here in the US. They wanted to go back home. Listen to this. IBM, WeWork, suspend service. Here's the list of companies cutting ties with Russia over invasion. So here we go. Tech giant IBM said Monday it was suspending all of its business in Russia, while commercial real estate company WeWork said it began the process of moving out of the country, adding to a growing list of companies, including, brace yourselves, folks, Netflix and TikTok, that are distancing themselves from Russia after its invasion of Ukraine. IBM announced Monday it has suspended all business in Russia and that it is donating $500,000 to Czech and Polish humanitarian organizations. WeWork said Monday it is finalizing solutions to divest operations in Russia and has paused plans for expansion in the area. Denim retailer Levi Strauss, people still wear Levi's? Wait a minute, hold on. Let me ask everybody. Levi still makes jeans? Really? Anybody in the chat? You guys know about this? You guys holding out on me? I didn't know this. I didn't realize this. I didn't know Levi's was still like a thing. I did not know. Interesting. I'll go back in. That one caught me off guard. Sorry. Levi announced Monday it's suspending sales and halting investments in Russia and will donate over $300,000 to organizations aiding the refugees and people in Ukraine. Oh, Quaker gets Levi's. All right. I don't know. Where do they sell these Levi's? I don't even know anymore. Also haven't been like shopping in a long time. Nissan said Monday it has suspended exports to Russia and anticipates that production will soon halt at its St. Petersburg plant and announced a 2.5 million euros fund to help the people of Ukraine and employees affected by the crisis. Deloitte said Monday, by the way, Deloitte's a consulting company, said Monday it would no longer operate in Russia or Belarus. And Ernst & Young said it would no longer work with the Russian government, Russian state-owned companies, or sanctioned entities and individuals anywhere in the world. KPMG, Pricewaterhouse Coopers, two of the four major U.S. accounting firms. This is a big deal. This is a big deal. For those of you who don't know, I used to work at a business school, so I know about these companies. That's a big one. Sunday, that Russia-based firms will be leaving their respective networks, with KPMG's Belarus-based firm leaving as well. We believe we have a responsibility, along with other global business, to respond to Russia's government ongoing military attack on Ukraine, KPMG said in its release. Netflix paused production and acquisitions of 4 Russian projects. Deadline and Variety reported Wednesday, citing anonymous sources, and told Variety Sunday it was suspending its streaming service in Russia. TikTok announced on Twitter Sunday it is suspending live streaming and new content to its video service in Russia while it reviews the safety implications of Russia's law, which went into effect Friday and bans any content the Russian government deems fake news about its military, with the publishing of such content punishable by up to 15 years in prison. The list goes on, ladies and gentlemen. American Express is suspending all operations in Russia in response to the country's unjustified attack on the people of Ukraine. The credit card company announced Sunday in a press release, adding it is ending all business operations in Belarus. MasterCard and Visa each announced Saturday their cards will no longer function at Russian merchants or ATMs. This is huge. Let me come out for a second. That means if you have a MasterCard or a Visa, and I wonder if this also includes like a debit card. Like you have a debit card that has a MasterCard logo or a Visa logo. I wonder if it includes that as well. I'm not sure. But if it does, either way, this is really bad, because that means you can't even use your card at the ATM. You can't take money out. They're essentially going to try to starve Russia. By they, I mean the US government. I stopped saying we because I don't include myself as a part of this anymore. They do their thing, I do my thing. This is what's going to happen. They're going to try to starve those people in Russia, just like they're starving people in Afghanistan. By the way, where are all these companies with their money and their support for people in Somalia? They're going to try to help the people in Somalia that the US government is constantly destroying? Are they going to try to help them? Nah. They don't look the part. Think about that. I'm not going to go through the whole list because there's a lot of them. We can skip over Prada. Prada is not, we'll skip Prada. EA Games suspending sales. I think we're getting into retail. Hermes. Microsoft said Friday it is suspending new sales of all of its products and services in Russia and is proactively working to help cybersecurity officials in Ukraine defend against Russian attacks. Samsung halted shipments to Russia on Friday, the company told Reuters and Bloomberg, following a similar move by Apple. Airbnb is suspending all operations in Russia and Belarus. Google said Thursday it will no longer sell online advertising in Russia through its search engine, YouTube, or outside publishing partners. Volkswagen suspended production of vehicles in Russian cities. IKEA, your stuff falls apart anyway. I'll go to the next one. Mercedes-Benz said they are suspending the export of passenger cars and vans. Software company SAP, that's a big one. So I've used SAP in higher ed for a long time. That's actually a big one. That's a platform that we use for financial services in higher ed, for those who are not aware of that. Everything that you purchase for the university, for the department, research supplies, materials, all of that would go through SAP. So it's a big deal to not be able to have that if you're used to having that. And we're going in again with Spotify closed its Russian office indefinitely. Yikes. Oracle, that's another one. We can stop it there, Eric, because that's a long list. But if you could put the link in the chat so people can see all of them. It's a lot of companies. You guys get the point. This is a problem. I really wonder how my students are doing there. I mean, they're not my students anymore. They graduated. I don't even think I can reach out to them now because of all these platforms that have been taken away. This is terrible. This is absolutely terrible. And I want to remind everybody here, again, the United States government is not innocent. I don't agree with sanctions. You shouldn't agree with them either. Innocent people will suffer because of this. I don't think it's right that the United States government can freeze another country's assets, can freeze their money, can stop people from being able to just live, to buy food, to get gas, to live their lives. Caleb was on here, I think that was last week. Caleb explained to you how this whole conflict started, and it did not start with Russia invading Ukraine. He broke all of that down for you. If you haven't seen that interview, please go back and watch that. The United States government is involved here as well. And it's just really sad. Imagine if it were us. Imagine if we were living in Russia and this was done to us. How would we feel? Imagine going to the ATM or going to the bank and not being able to take out any money. Imagine going into the grocery store and not being able to use your card because it has MasterCard or a Visa logo. And I just told you, they're shutting that down. How are you going to get food? What if you have kids? What if you have a baby? What are you going to do? What about women over there who are pregnant? How are they going to feed themselves and their unborn child? People aren't thinking about this. All people see and hear is, oh, well, Putin's bad. Someone sent me a GoFundMe today for Ukraine. I was going to reply back. I decided not to. I decided to be nice. Because if I would have replied back, I would have said, where's the GoFundMe for the people in Somalia? Where's the GoFundMe for people in Yemen? Where's the GoFundMe for people in Afghanistan? Where's the GoFundMe for people in Haiti? No, because they don't care about brown people far away. Pay close attention. You have Saturday Night Live out here, which, by the way, hasn't been funny in years. I'm sorry, they haven't. You have SNL doing a whole skit for the Ukrainian people. I didn't see them do anything for people in Somalia. I didn't see them do anything for people in Haiti. It's only a certain type. And I sincerely hope the American people are waking up to this and paying attention to what's going on. I posted something today. It's a meme. I want to show you what this looks like. This was exactly how I felt when I posted this. Because I feel like this is the quiet part, not being said aloud. Give me just a second. Why am I frozen? Oh, no, I'm not frozen. Sorry, I was looking at something else. Where's that meme? Here it is. Let me share my screen. Had to say the quiet part out loud. I said the hypocrisy of it all. Look at this. Mainstream media. There's Ukraine on the left. There's Palestine on the right. Both throwing the same flame-filled bottles. But the Ukrainian people are considered heroes and the Palestinians are considered terrorists. Lawrence said, we supply the weapons to Israel to bomb Palestine back to the Stone Age. Yep. Everybody see it? This is the problem. Some people are calling it out. Some people are not. Let's see how people felt about this tweet. 3,113 likes. I say that's pretty damn good. 751 retweets. Some people are starting to see it. Problem is, this isn't something new. This has been going on for a long time. Haiti would not have some of the poverty issues that it has if it wasn't for the United States government and the regime changes. We're always involved. Yes, John T is correct. Haiti suffers daily. Go to some of the comments in the chat. Monarch said companies irrationally distancing themselves from Russia. Sabby, that sounds like another excuse for companies now to lay off even more employees. John T says everyone is piling on like a pack of dogs, but no one is talking peace. they are talking more war to sell arms. 100%, John. Super Patriot says everything is connected. You can't cancel Russia. And by the way, if you think the sanctions that's put on Russia is only going to hurt people in Russia, nah. Anyone that receives goods from Russia, they're going to be affected too. Delthea Simmons said, I don't believe the hype. If these companies really are suspending business, it's because their business in Russia is small. Otherwise, they'll use weasel words in the press and keep on selling. Good point. Leroy said sanctions are an act of war. I'm anti-war, therefore I'm anti-sanctions. Thank you so much for saying that, Leroy. I want people to really understand that when I say I'm anti-war, I'm not just talking about on the battlefield. I'm talking about economic warfare as well. I don't think you can separate the two. I think you're anti-war, you got to go all in. I'm sorry. Boo Boo Bunny says they won't do ish for Palestine, Haiti, Africans, etc. They only care about Europeans. There you go. There you go. I told you guys I had some good news. I do. I want to share that with you. Doobie doobie doo. All right. Oh, not yet. I do have two good news stories. They're very, very short. If you are a Boston Celtics fan, ladies and gentlemen, this is some good news for you because this weekend, Jason Tatum, give a big shout out for Jason Tatum. Jason Tatum scored 54 points. Boom. Yes, Tatum went to work. 54 points. 16 to 30 field goals. I think it's FG field goals. And 5 rebounds. Can you scroll down, Eric? Special. Jason Tatum is on fire. I said when he first came to the Celtics, give it a couple years and he is really going to take off. He has 54 points. Who's putting up numbers like that? That takes me back, man. That really takes me back. So I'm sorry if you're not a Celtics fan, you're probably like, boo in the background. But we're pretty happy here. After the Patriots blew it, in the playoff this season, I'm like, look, come on, Celtics. That's usually what we do. 54 points, and he's still young. If we get to keep him, and I hope we do, I don't think he'll stay much longer if we don't win a championship. Because with that kind of talent, I can see other teams wanting to pick him up quickly. But he's been with us for a couple of years. And I think he's really going to be the one that's going to drive this team. And I said that when he first came in, I said he's young now, but he's going to be the one if he stays. So big whoop whoop to Jason Tatum for doing his thing. Leroy, I'm so sad to hear that you are a Knicks fan. Leroy said, I appreciate hard work though. Oh, all right. I also told you I had another good news story. Let me, where did I put it? Oh, here we go. Oh no, Eric, don't show it yet. I'm not gonna get it. Okay. For those of you who love live music and you're big concert goers, you like a little bit of nostalgia. I like nostalgia, especially when it comes to music. A new summer concert was announced today. I'm going to share it with you. Some of you are going to laugh at me. I get it. I understand. But this is nostalgia for me. I've seen these guys like 3 times. They have a couple of people joining them. So Eric, you want to go ahead and share it? This summer, ladies and gentlemen, get pumped, get excited. New Kids on the Block are announcing another mixtape tour. That's 2022. It's the Ultimate Party mixtape tour. Who's coming with them? Let's see. Can you zoom in to the picture? I don't know if it'll let you air. Okay. All right. I know some of you are going to make fun of me still. That's okay. All right. New Kids on the Block. They will be joined by Salt and Pepper, In Vogue, and I really can't believe this one. I don't know how they pulled this off. They'll also be joined by Rick Astley. Yes, the Never Gonna Give You Up guy. What is it? Rick Rolled? Rick Rolled. So go ahead and scroll down, Eric. We got the wonderful ladies from Salt and Pepper. So push it. Rick Astley and In Vogue. And yes, they will be coming to Boston. I already checked. I already looked it up. Who's coming with me? Let me know. Hit me up. DM me. Email me. This is my jam. I told you I've seen them like 3 times. Whether you like boy bands or not, the concerts are really fun. They're a lot of fun. And I really can't believe Rick Astley came. Rick Astley is the, let me pull it up for those of you who don't know. People make fun of him a lot. Like they made a meme out of him. Never gonna give you up. Let you down. Well, you guys know what it looks like. These pictures are like too recent. That doesn't even look like him. Yeah, bud. You are not going to recognize him. Where's the picture everyone knows? This one. Let me share. This is funny. I can't believe they found him. Let's see. Rick Astley. Yep. Never gonna give you up. Never gonna let you down. This summer, you guys, should be a lot of fun. So, yeah, Colin knows Never Gonna Give You Up was the bop back in the day. My parents had that song. Well, I shouldn't say parents, my mom. I don't think my dad would like that too much that I said my parents. My dad would be like, I did not listen to Rick Astley. Yes, Leroy, they found him. Where has he been all these years? Yep. People used to Rick roll people. Like a friend of mine sent me a preview. He said it was the preview for a new Star Wars movie. And I clicked on it and it was Rick Astley singing. He said you got Rick rolled.
Let's see. Oh my god. Oh yeah.
Oh man. I gotta go, man. Guys, tomorrow night. See, now I got the song stuck in my head. Now. But tomorrow night, Tara Reid will be here talking about what happened with RT America. She was also another one that lost their show on RT America, and she also lost her show on Spotify. So she'll be on to join me as well as the news. We're going to talk about that. So there's a lot of, censorship going on, and you have that, and then to go along with it because of the sanctions on Russia, and then RT America pulled. So there's a lot going on right now, and I want you to hear from the people that are involved. Caleb was on here. He talked about what was happening at that point in time. So Tara Reid will be here tomorrow to talk about her experience as well. Eric, you want to, I'm going to say my line, but do you want to Rick roll us out? All right, guys, you know how we, I can't be serious. All right, guys, you know how we, have a good night.
Let's see. Oh my god. Oh yeah.
Keep up the fight.